Hey there everyone, I'm Errol Barnett at the CBS Broadcast Center in New York. Thanks so much for joining us. Major questions are being raised today about whether President Trump will be interviewed by the special counsel. According to President Trump's lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, there is now a 50-50 chance that the president will sit down for an interview with Bob Mueller's team. That's more likely than previous conversations suggested. Giuliani tells CBS News he expects a counter-proposal from the special counsel no later than Monday. This comes after the president's lawyers yesterday asked for a more narrowly focused interview. They would not say what those terms were, but they previously pushed for limited questions on obstruction. They're also in favor of having the president answer questions in writing. Giuliani this morning said he is more optimistic than he was a week ago, and that's because he thinks Mueller may agree to shelve obstruction questions while Trump is president. Joining me now to talk about this from our Washington bureau is Bob Cusack, the editor-in-chief of The Hill. Bob, thanks for your time today. The president's team and Bob Mueller now having this back and forth. It's actually been going on for months. So what do you make of Giuliani now suggesting there's a 50-50 chance of an interview at this point? Is that just a bit of projection and spin?
Well, listen, I think that is news, Errol. I don't think this interview is going to happen, at least not in person. But the fact that Giuliani is saying he's more optimistic is significant. But others, Giuliani himself and other lawyers on his team, including Jay Sekulow, have cautioned him not to sit down with Mueller or maybe just do it in writing. And I do think there probably will be a counter-proposal from Mueller's team. But still, I think it is very, very unlikely that this will happen in person. And then the question, of course, will Mueller subpoena Trump? That could take months. And Giuliani has said he wants to see this probe wrap up soon, but I don't think that's going to happen, at least not until after the election.
And what do you make of Rudy Giuliani characterizing a possible interview as a perjury trap? What does that mean as far as the president's team is concerned? Why?
Well, that means that a lot of crimes of this scale, that you're caught on kind of the lying part, not on the actual crime. That happened to Martha Stewart when James Comey, actually, the former FBI director, went after her. So I think it's a perjury trap. And of course, critics of the president say, well, it's not a perjury trap if you just tell the truth. So right. I do think that they don't know what Mueller knows. And Mueller has been looking into the Trump circle, the campaign circle, for a long time. So that's their disadvantage. They don't know what exactly he's going to ask. So that's why these negotiations are ongoing of what are you going to ask, or at least what topics, and trying to come to some agreement. But I also think in the backdrop of the election, which is less than 90 days away, I just see this as very unlikely.
And what do you make of the way Rudy Giuliani is fighting this? As you mentioned, they don't know specifically what Bob Mueller has. So essentially, you have Giuliani going on television, giving these interviews, litigating this in the court of public opinion. And he is saying that he doesn't believe the special counsel would win a subpoena fight over an act to interview the president. What do you make of that aspect of just all of this being debated in public?
Well, I mean, Giuliani is going on the airwaves. There's no doubt about it. I mean, and it's a PR campaign, and certainly Trump at times, too, has gone after Mueller himself. And the Republican base is very strong around the president. And I think that's what the Trump team is very happy with, that they're starting to portray, and Trump allies on cable news, portraying Mueller as just hiring all these Democrats, and certainly some are Democrats. They've given to Democrats. And so whatever Mueller comes up with, certainly they're going to criticize, I think, especially if it's very critical of the president or suggests that impeachment should commence.
You also spoke about the window we have here until the midterm elections and the belief or understanding that the special counsel wouldn't want to interfere with that in any way. Do you think the special counsel really is concerned about the perception that anything he does or says or announces could have an impact on midterms?
I do. I think they have to take that in consideration, because that really burned James Comey. Now, he was in a different situation, but Mueller has the opportunity. He does not have to do anything before the election. Of course, the Manafort trial is still ongoing, and I think that some people say, well, the unspoken rule that the Department of Justice and special counsels have is post-Labor Day before an election, so maybe he could wrap up or kind of do some type of interim report between now and then. But I still think right right now we're too close to the election. If he were going to release anything, I think he had to do it much earlier this year, and that's why I think this is going to go not till right after the election, because then Democrats may say, well, you should have released this earlier. I think it goes into 2019.
Now, you have Democrats and those on the left kind of hyperventilating about the House Intelligence Committee Chairman Devin Nunes being recorded telling donors that they need to keep the GOP majority, essentially to protect President Trump. And he, of course, has been a Trump loyalist all along. Do other Republicans share that view, and is it that controversial?
I mean, it's certainly controversial and interesting that he was taped. Devin Nunes is a supporter of the president, as are many in Congress, many Republicans. And that's they're using this as to get out the base that, listen, if the House does flip, Democrats can impeach the president or try to. They can go after his tax returns. They can hold a lot of hearings. And so I think this is a situation where Republicans know they're going to lose seats. It's just a matter of, can they hold on to the House? It's 23 seats the Democrats need. And right now, the chances, you talk to Republicans privately, the chances are better than 50-50 that Democrats are going to win back the House.
And this all seems to be a part of President Trump's effort to encourage a potential red wave come midterms, which is not what most analysts are predicting, but they certainly want to increase turnout as much as possible. Is that matched by what we're seeing in primaries? Because it seems as though Republican turnout is slightly diminished in some Trump strongholds, while Democrats really do seem enthused.
The energy, Errol, no doubt about it. It's on the left. It's on the Democratic. And that's normal for a midterm. Right. If Hillary Clinton were president, the energy would be on the right. So, and if you look at history, there's just the history shows that roughly 30 seats flip. Now, Trump defied the odds in 2016. Maybe he can defy the odds in 2018. But Republicans, including Mitch McConnell, has said a hurricane is coming. It's just a matter of whether it's a 3, 4, or 5 level hurricane.
Now, historically, you acknowledge that the opposition party here, the Democrats, are likely to pick up seats. But your paper is reporting today that Democrats, in reality, are eyeing a smaller number of seats to reclaim the House. Can you explain that?
Yeah, the magic number, as I said, is 23 seats. But if you look at the individual seats, there are a handful of seats, like Ileana Ros-Lehtinen seat. She is retiring. Hillary Clinton won her seat. She's a Republican, Ileana Ros-Lehtinen, by 20 points. So in all likelihood, Republicans are going to win that seat and have already won that seat, even though it hasn't been voted on. So if you take that handful roughly, there are other seats like that Ryan Costello's seat, he's retiring, in Pennsylvania. Those are already gone. So really the magic number is closer to 17, 16, and that's a number that Democrats are comfortable that they think they can get to that kind of number because they already got a handful in their pocket.
All right. Thanks for walking us through all of that. Bob Cusack joining us from Washington.
Thanks, sir.